Hey, it's Kellen.
Tyson here.
And of course, AL.
This is Diversified Game, a podcast giving entrepreneurial advice from a diverse and inclusive perspective. On this episode today, we're going to talk about Black business does not mean bad business.
This is
Diversified Game.
A podcast giving entrepreneurial advice from a diverse and inclusive perspective with Kellen.
He may agree, he may oppose, and it's more than just race, it's about, ideas.
Tyson.
When you're going against the odds, you've got to be creative, you've got to innovate, you've got to stand out.
And AL.
Focus more on execution and application and less on excuses.
So, let the game begin.
And in saying that, a lot of times when we hear Black business, it's in a negative connotation, as in that restaurant isn't open when it said it was going to be open.
Right.
They didn't deliver on this product when they said they were going to deliver on this product. And we're here to give you the game to take that whole narrative and flip it.
Right. And I mean, one thing that I'm getting with Black businesses and the negative connotation always attached to it is because we only seem to want to recognize when a Black business is doing something we don't like. We don't go the empowerment route, even though everyone online talks about buy Black, be Black owned and all this stuff. You talk about it, but then when you actually encounter the business, you don't actually share, oh, this was actually a good experience with a Black business, or you don't give the good Black businesses a try because you sit there and talk about, well, I did that last time with this business and it was owned by whoever, and I'm not doing that again.
Man, it's a strange world we live in. I tell you that much. Where at least as the Black business, guys, like we've encountered this. We've got to do double the work for half the pay. That sort of thing.
Half. How generous of you. This man said half the pay. Like, wow, yeah, wow. You're about 20% over. Of what we get offered. Like,
oh, yo, offer. Yeah, that's right. My bad. You're right.
Oh, forget that.
What can you do for $300?
Right. Oh my goodness. Oh, best.
Say goodbye. Like.
Right. Exactly. I can end this call. But to many people's defense, there is a business out there that's starting at right about now that will take that money because you're their first client. So I'm never going to fault them for trying, but I will fault them for trying with me.
No, for sure. Yeah, it's so strange. Like the perspective really needs to heighten or broaden rather. Maybe that's the better word.
Right.
And with all the things that we've done, the brands that we work with, like the sideways looks, the sideways comments, is just all I can think to myself is just wow. Just wow.
Yeah.
You gotta keep pushing. People are gonna be people. You gotta just completely blow their minds and gotta just do the damn thing or do the damn thing always. I mean, man, will it always be like that? Nah, but it's just something
for
else,
right
man.
Now.
It's like
for right now it is. So I guess, I mean, even with looking at that, it's like why the negative connotation with Black business, and how do we actually flip that? Because there are, I mean, aside from the obvious of constantly talking about, the good Black businesses that exist out there, but how do we flip that on its ear aside from how we carry ourselves and how we do business, and then upping our value? Like, what does that look like? What do you guys think?
Oh, okay. I got some on that. I got
Okay.
you. I'm hyped. I'm hyped, though. This tea is on the money this morning. So I'm like I'm with it. I'm with it all this morning.
Right.
Um, just taking a quick look back. It's always 2020 in hindsight, and to help the next set of entrepreneurs like do their thing. One thing that I can say has allowed us to be exceptionally successful is the referral, and without us having to um, go out and hunt so much business, we were very fortunate early on to just have a crap ton of just referral based business.
Right.
And I believe that the sooner that entrepreneur, small business, you can get in position to be in a um, referral based manner, oh my goodness, it does your business wonders. Pretty much because like you're given the credibility, and you can literally carry that with you wherever you go. It's an incredible thing for sure.
Right. Yeah. The kind of the passing of the baton is that warm or even super hot introduction to a new client that someone goes, hey, listen, you gotta mess with them because they know their stuff. And what like it's painful, but at the same time, it's always like one of those, man. And these cats are black, like it's a shocker that we would be black and exceptional at what we do. Like those two things. Oh my gosh! Like how did they go together? That's clearly water and oil. But again, that's that. I guess that's that stereotype, that stipulation of like black businesses and how they conduct themselves. And then Cal, I know you always, man, like something that I was thinking about with this topic was you always talk about systems and how it seems like some or most or a lot of the quote unquote bad black businesses that we encounter don't have systems, don't have schedules, don't have that type of stuff to keep their business tight. So what's your take?
Yeah, systems are crucial. And when we talk about the referrals, I've never ran an ad on anything. I've had ads placed because of magazine clients or whatnot, and they'll throw you something because they know they're getting a discount, and that the work that you did. But when I think about the bad black businesses, if we're looking at solutions, I think about there's a lot of opportunity for us to teach, and that we then have to kind of like, and I always will say, the Acuity and the Clarity.fm platforms to teach these people at a lower amount of money. Because a lot of times, even our own folks are shocked on how much we're charging, not understanding that they're paying for time, and you get what you pay for. So if we create these systems to give them the introduction, and there's books been written on, the power of free, and how
Mm-hmm.
you can take free and then make a profit out of it, giving somebody something and locking them in. And they used to, I think it started with, when people used to collect email addresses and all the information you could on somebody so they could sell it to somebody else,
Right,
uh, 100 times over. But
right,
if we get an opportunity for a lot of people to say, you know what, look at your Yelp reviews. I've done this to companies and say, look at your Yelp reviews. They're terrible. We can clear this up. I know this platform, but this is what it's going to cost you. And some folks are so cash strapped and are greedy that they're like, you know what, I'd rather have bad Yelp reviews than pay you. But
mm-hmm.
they always come back, to say,
Mm-hmm.
can we do it for this price? Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. So I think a lot of the bad business is a lack of a system, a lack of a budget, because a lot of them don't budget out. They're just kind of paying the bill straight out the register, old school style, which is
Right.
totally wrong. The IRS will be coming to see you. You need a CPA, you need a
Mm-hmm.
bookkeeper. And so that's my solution, that there's a lot of opportunity. And when you do have someone doing good business, you can call it black business. So we can flip it, because we never say,
Right,
hey, that's a good black business. We just,
right,
keep it going, and keep returning.
right. Now, you brought up something interesting that I want to touch on real quick because you said you're paying for time. I always looked at it as you're paying for value. like what I can do within whatever time I allot you. So it's that's the mentality I have. Like when we go and charge, in the triple digits per hour, when we look at that, we're like, oh, it's because we know what we can accomplish is that much greater than someone that you would offer, you know, 20 an hour, 25 an hour, 50 an hour. We know our stuff. And so, the amount of money we charge, whether it's an hour, half an hour, 2 weeks, a month, 6 months, is is a direct correlation to the amount of value we can bring to your business, and thus making your business a good business, whether it's black or white or Asian or Filipino, German, whatever it is. We know we can bring that value, and you're paying us a good black business in order to bring you that good value. So,
Yeah, but people, so we're tools, and they take the tool out the toolbox when they think they need it, and then they'll
mhm.
store it when they think they don't, and that's the
Right.
problem. You always need your tools handy,
Mhm.
ready to go. And so, the value, those are based on a lot of times relationships, because it's never like you could say the biggest client ever, and
Mhm.
folks are like, well, sounds good, what can you do for me? Almost look at it, and I hate to just put it in this most layman terms in
Mhm.
such gutter, but it's coming to me like this. They treat us not just like tools, but like prostitutes. And
Right.
sometimes anyone will do for those
Right.
who buy women. I don't buy women, but I see when people did,
Right.
and they'll just take whatever they can afford at the time, for the best deal. So
Right.
they a lot of times don't value, and when they do, it's always based on, okay, you've shown this person something, they know that they pretty much don't want to start. It's like a marriage, then we go from prostitutes to marriage real quick. um
Hoe to a housewife.
yeah, it's then like a marriage where it's like, okay, I'm with this person, I'm comfortable, I'm really not trying to start and learn anybody's favorite anything ever again in life. So this thing has to work, because I can't remember this, what you like, what you don't like. I mean, that in itself, once you're in a
Right.
groove, you're in a groove.
Right. Now, oh man, the part that catches me, the tool analogy, I get that, keeping it handy, taking us out when you need us, things like that. Um, but it's like the also the preventative maintenance part. Like you you end up spending less if you just keep up with it. If you just keep your systems in order, keep your staff straight, keep doing the right things with your business, and keeping people happy, you end up spending a lot less than when it's an emergency, and now you hit them Uber surge rates. Like, oh, you need a ride to where right now? Oh,
Right,
yeah,
right, right,
it's
right.
normally 10. It's definitely 25 now. Like, you versus if you was just keeping up along the way, you wouldn't have those necessary problems, and you'd get the benefit of the growth from keeping up with it. So now you're going to be heads and shoulders above, even though you may have been paying that for that $10 ride for 30 days and it costs you 300. It's better than paying that it costs you 300, but you're able to go ahead and profit off of it too, because you've been doing all the right things and getting a good reputation and getting referrals and all that stuff, rather than when it's an emergency. Now for the next 5 days, you're going to have to pay $30. You know what I mean? And yeah, that may be 150, but you won't get the same growth because you're only doing it for that short amount of time versus getting the longevity of benefit, or the benefit of longevity, I should say, and consistency.
Yeah, but that's that learning and that teaching aspect. We have to teach so many people that, and so
Mhm.
that's the part where now we're the on Instagram I say professor of PR, because I'm gonna have to teach you, just to be able to justify to some people. I mean, there's
Mhm.
people who get it, but we're talking about the the rookies in the game, or they just started to scale their business where they can afford the prices. Because, I mean, if we looked at some of these folks' bank accounts, we know that they just can't afford it. And it's always those folks who are most excited to get on the phone with you. So that's why I have my barriers, because I need to make sure you're even in the ballpark of what we can do.
See, so all right, so you run a little bit differently than my mentality. My mentality, I'll get on the phone with any and everybody, but not any and every time is kind of the thing. And I'll always have at least a 10 to 15 minute conversation, five depending on the other party, but just to have uh that feeler out there, because like you always taught me, genuinely, like, yeah, give people the game, teach them a little something, drop a little knowledge, and then hope if they use it, they use it. If they don't, they don't. But you don't sit there and kind of spin your wheels with them with the knowledge that they pretty much are never have the intent of becoming a client, and if they do, it's not your client. Because we definitely see that they'll come to us for all the free advice for years.
Right,
Like,
word
literally,
up.
I have people that call me randomly, occasionally, over years of growing and building their business, keep in contact with me, whatever the updates and all that, and then they finally hit a point where they're like, oh yeah, I can afford to do this, and you've been using my advice all along, and now you want me to audition. like like, wait, what? No, like, and so I also want to point out the appreciation of resources, and then I don't know if that happens commonly to a lot of other people in races. I've heard that it doesn't. um and I know a lot of
Wow.
people who that doesn't happen to, but it seems like we want, when it's a black person in particular, and I am that, so that's what my point of reference is going to be. um it's one of those, I'm going to get you to give me as much for free as possible, and then when you when I'm ready to pay, and you finally decide, okay, well, cool, I'll step up for the pay position, I'm literally going to go with anyone but you, and I'm going to use everything that you taught me or showed me, and I'm going to tell that next person this is how I want it done, rather than just going with you. Like, and
Crazy.
that drive, like, that does drive me a little crazy, but at the same time, I realize, again, when I'm facing the stigma of bad black business, even though I've shown value for no reason other than decent humanity, um, and it's not reciprocated when it comes down to the dollar. But then, if I don't, then I'm a bad person. You know what I mean? So.
Well, you'll get to the point, and it was only till I could say this year till I got to the point, and I found the systems, and I was hard on the systems where I'm not picking up my phone if you're not in my inner circle and you're
Hmm.
not scheduling time. Because for years, I mean, you had to talk with
Hmm.
people, but when we did some research on just how much less talking, not just myself but even Tina, that she did when having these things. She said she saved, it was a crazy amount of hours, that she said, I used to talk for free for that, and now I talk less but I make more.
Hmm.
And that's the goal, because you do want to give the game, but those situations, people aren't loyal. And that I saw it, I saw it for so many years. I'm talking about, a decade
Hmm.
plus of just talking, because you're trying to get in the game, you're trying to prove yourself. And it's only when you can, get something that can sustain you. I'm not saying for anybody new, hey, do this, but it could work for them too, because we
Right.
want to give them the game so they don't have to go through the same pitfalls. Like Jay
Right.
said, I hustle, so you don't
Right.
have to.
Jay did that, so hopefully y'all don't
Yeah,
have to go through
You have
that.
to
Or
go
Hope did that.
through that.
Right. Hope did that. So.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So,
Yep.
because if not, and because if the new people are continually doing that stuff, people always think, oh, we can treat people like this in this arena like that. So if we all just get on one accord and say, nah, that's a consultation. And again, everyone's at their different level. So, it is no, no, we're not we don't want to guilt y'all and say you're doing it wrong, but this may be a way that could help you.
Right.
Right.
And help overall with, again, like having a system, having a protocol, and having kind of a reason or way around it. I mean, also at the same time, I can say that I've had good experiences with that, right? Like, you talk to someone for like a day, a week, something like that, and 10, 15 minutes here, and then all of a sudden they become a client, because they're like, okay, well, damn, you really have helped me even before paying you. So I can only imagine what it'd be like if I gave you that money, if I really made it rain
Right.
on you. So shout outs to those people as well. But again, just thinking about the main topic at hand, which was bad business doesn't equal a black business. Um, it's just getting the systems in place and sticking to it, and preparation. That's something that I feel like is lacking too, and that affects revenue. You know what I mean? That definitely affects revenue, not being prepared. You know what I mean? You're the crab shack, and you don't got no butter. You don't have any melted butter. You don't have any lemons. You don't have any newspaper to wrap up your crab legs.
Right.
That type of, like, but you're the crab shack. Like, that's literally your job. That's like Kentucky Fried Chicken not having any wings. Like, what are you doing?
Wow.
What are you what are you
What type
doing?
of business?
You're right. You're ill prepared. So, like, because you didn't anticipate selling that much today. You undershot yourself, so you're like, oh, we don't really need that much. We'll be good. But it is insurmountably better to be prepared and a little bit overstocked. You know what I mean? Because plan for success, and success will happen. You got to do certain steps. You got to market yourself, be in the community, get a positive reputation, and then business comes your way. But if you're constantly underprepared, you're not going to build that positive reputation. Business is not going to come your way, and you're going to look at your inventory. You're going to be like, we could get by with that. And it's going to be one day where you can't, and then those people come there and they leave out and they think exactly what they heard on the street. And this place really do suck. Like, this really is a horrible place. Like, they haven't changed. I came here for some good stuff, and they can't even provide it. So, preparedness, having systems, and doing right by people. Those are probably the three easiest things.
Yeah,
No
you
word.
know, it comes down to food for us. I mean, we like to eat, and good food. And I've seen businesses of. I just went to Portland, and white guys, great food truck. The person right before me, around maybe 4 o'clock, got the last sausage. That's the only thing I really wanted. Um,
Mm.
and I'm like, you guys don't have enough sausage? Like, you guys don't sell sausage a la carte. So there was, again, preparation that
Hmm.
it wasn't there. And I can't say I'm gonna come back because what I wanted I didn't get. And
Right.
they're like, oh, we'll give you more of this and more of that. And it's like, but that's not really what I came
Right.
here for. So you lost a customer, unless for whatever reason I want to come by and try to give you a second chance, which I don't think I do.
Right.
And the food was fine. It is disappointing that I didn't
Right.
get my what I wanted.
Right. Right.
Since I'm not
Right.
big on the meat, trying to eat the AL way and be healthy. But
What?
The
What?
AL way.
What you mean? If you mean by healthy, like gummy bears and
You sick.
bags and bags of Terra chips, I mean, I guess so.
Oh man, see,
wait,
I be
that's
with
on
the
your
Sour
diet?
Patch. He said,
It's
"What's your diet?"
part of it.
That's part of it.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
Overall,
I
AL
don't
being
feel so bad.
AL being his health kick. Don't let him play you. he be sitting there with
Nah, nah.
cucumber slices and ranch. Don't let him fool you. Don't let him fool you.
Why y'all trying to play me, yo? Y'all trying to play me.
Almonds and cashews and carrots. I see you.
Nah, I eat
Man.
that stuff too, yo. I live by my aunt's diet. If you're hungry, baby, eat. Hey, that's my
Right.
diet.
It is better to eat than to starve. So,
There you go.
You know,
And
no
being as
matter what.
creative as we are, we got to eat, man.
Right. You got to fuel that. Can't play. And then, so yeah, I mean, just that's pretty much the hot spots, the tips there, and just do better. Like you do in the Air Force, like there's a moniker that we have. You know, it's excellence in all you do, and I feel like if we just carried that as a people and as businesses to take it a step further, excellence in all we do. If we kept that in our minds, we would never, at least not on purpose, put out a subpar product. If you look at something, you say, "Well, that's good enough," then you probably played yourself, and that means you're not operating with excellence. Um, and so that needs to be reevaluated. And if we could just get that down, sharpen our swords, you know, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, and be able to hack through the head once, like that's the precision, that's the excellence we strive for, and that's the execution we want. See what I did there?
Yep.
Okay.
I see. I see.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, spot on. Spot on. Yeah, I think I got some. Let me double dutch back in.
Okay.
No, just to your points of preparation. And I know we've talked a little bit about this, about showing people the way and guiding others while we're trying to guide ourselves. Please don't take this as hypocrisy. This is more strategy. What I found has allowed us to aid in our success is in terms of like the preparation aspect, is that when we're going into new business or just business in general, and I at one time wasn't proficient in this, but had to learn, definitely from that school of thought of like kind of do it yourself and kind of get feedback afterwards, that sort of thing. But it's all in the presentation, the one sheet, like the decks, the proposals. Soon as we started implementing that, oh my goodness, we started to dispel all of the misperceptions and, oh my God, you're a black business. Did we encounter some of that? Absolutely. But the more professional we came, the more we were able to kind of break down those barriers.
Right. And the more creative the presentation, too. The more creative the presentation and proposal, because that also helped distract from the fact that we were a black business, because all of a sudden it turned to, how did you get that to do that? And we were able to answer those questions rather than them raising the questions in their heads of, how did these black guys get here? Like,
Word.
Right. So I think this is a good place to stop our dialogue for this episode and allow you, the listeners, to join the conversation and keep the dialogue going with us online.
You can do so by visiting our social media at Facebook, Diversified Game Podcast, on Instagram and Twitter, Game Diversified, online, diversifiedgame.com. In your life with the people around you, and/or join our Patreon and get some nice perks for being involved.
If you found a nugget and or liked today's episode, you might as well leave a review. And if you leave a review, you might as well share it. If you share it, you might as well subscribe. And as always, thanks for your support.
Thanks for getting in the game and listening to the Diversified Game Podcast with Kellen, Tyson, and AL. The #1 show pairing entrepreneurship with diverse and inclusive perspectives like wine and cheese, bagel and lox, fish and grits. Be sure to visit diversifiedgame.com for all the good stuff. Join in the conversation and discover more content.